Hey, welcome back. Jeff Heggie, Daily Success Strategies. Thanks for being with me today. Today, what I want to talk about is lessons of the geese. But before we get there, I want to talk about the fact that it's Monday today. What are you going to do this week? What are you going to be accountable this week that on Friday you can look back? Number one, say it's been a great week. You've been successful in your week. Number two, you're closer to your bigger goals. Now, on Friday's episode, I talked about changing things from a should to a must. What are the things that you think you should be getting done this week that you need to change your perspective and make them a must so that you can have a successful week, so that you can get closer to those bigger goals and you can be successful? So I want you to be accountable to those things. So DM me, email me at jeff@jeffheggie.com. Just somehow put yourself out there, be accountable. So on Friday, if you DM me, I'll send a message back on Friday and we'll talk about where you're at, or if you email me, do the same thing. But let's be accountable for it and get progress every single day towards your goals. And then at the end of the week, we're just that much closer. Make it a must. Make it a must, and you're going to have a lot better results. All right, today I want to talk about the lessons of the geese. Now, when I lived in southern Alberta, I loved watching the Canadian geese fly in formation, especially at different times of the year. There'd be hundreds and thousands of them, and I just loved it, especially if you could be bunkered down in a blind and out in the field watching them coming in. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know. But anyways, I've had Jamie Beckler on my show before, and he's going to be on some upcoming episodes as well. He's an excellent coach in leadership and mindset and personal development, and really focuses a lot on team effort. But in his book, The Leadership Playbook, this one right here, if you're watching on video, he talks about lessons of the geese. And I'm going to put in the show notes, I'll put the link to this book because it's an excellent book on leadership and teams, and I just really suggest you get it. But if you're looking to have the best team possible and being the best teammate possible, this is a great story that he shares on different things about geese that you can get to know. And, you know, the lessons that we can learn are really applicable to what you're trying to do to be successful. So first of all, if you've seen geese flying in formation, they fly in a V formation, and there's a reason for it. You know, when each goose flaps its wings, and it creates an uplift for the birds behind it. And overall, there's a 71% increase in efficiency for the birds than compared if they're flying on their own. And so he goes through a number of different examples like this and points out the lessons that we can learn from that. So first of all, that looking at that, he says that teammates who share a common direction, sense of commonality, can get where they're going quicker and easier than if they're bringing each other along with them than if they're trying to do it alone. You know, using the momentum from each other to build on our own success, rather than doing it on your own and having to face all that drag by yourself. Using each other and using that momentum, we can find success faster and easier. Then another lesson that he talks about, if a goose gets sick, wounded, shot down, whatever it is, and it falls out of formation, two other geese will fall out of formation with it. And if it's possible, those two geese are going to stick with that other goose until one, it can fly again and they can join in with another formation, or it dies or something happens that they can't stick with it. So what can we learn from that? Well, first of all, if we stick by one another, we can build each other up. Also, if we help each other, you can do more together than you can alone. And when we are alone, we're a lot more vulnerable to a lot of things. And so, great lesson to be learned there as well. Now, also, just as they're flying, if a goose falls out of formation, immediately it'll feel the drag and resistance and trying to fly alone, and hurry and get back in formation to take advantage of the bird in front of it. So what's the lesson there? Well, don't do it alone. It's easier if you can do things with teammates. It's easier if you can organize things where you can be on the same page, where you're all trying to achieve the same goal. Now, obviously, you know, we're talking about it's easier with the goose in front of it flying because it takes away so much of the drag. But what happens when the goose in the very front starts to get tired? Well, if you've watched geese before, what happens is that goose will fall back and another one will take the lead. And so that rotation in formation makes it so that the other geese can share that responsibility. And so what's the lesson to be learned there is, one, we can all be leaders at some point, and two, we can take our turns in doing the hard task and sharing the leadership responsibilities. A lot of people just look at the leader as they've got to be the one out front doing it. I don't have the title of manager or owner or whatever it is, or captain if you're on a team, something like that. But it doesn't matter what position you're in, you can be a leader at what you do, and you can take over leadership responsibilities. And that can not only help your team, but it can help you as well so much. And then also the geese in formation, the ones at the back are always honking and encouraging the ones in the front to keep up their speed and to keep going, and just adding encouragement. And the lesson learned from there obviously is that as we honk from behind, we need to be encouraging and doing things that are helpful. There's so many times that you see teams where the people start talking negatively about the leader and having their gossip, whatever it is. But we need to be open and have open communication. We need to be encouraging and helping the leader. We need to help the team overall, and the gossip and those things aren't what help. And the book EntreLeadership has some great information in there about gossip and how to deal with those things and what happens if you put up with it. So that's another one I'd suggest. So I love it. Jamie's book, if you're looking at leadership or team leadership, any of those things, it's a great book. And like I said earlier, the link will be in the show notes, but I suggest getting it. It's the Leadership Playbook. Great book and great stories in there. One other thing about the geese, if you've ever noticed them flying in formation in the V like that, a lot of people always wonder, why is one arm of the V longer than the other? And that might be something you don't know as well. And the reason for that is there's more geese on one side. Sorry, I had to add that in. That's one of my as my kids would say, a bad dad joke. But as we look at these things, hopefully if you run a team, these are things that are going to be helpful. You need to start on your own personal leadership to begin with, though. Leading yourself is the first step, and establishing your daily success habits is really how I suggest you start that. When you create those habits, it helps you establish the mentality, helps you establish everything that you need to be successful. And so if you haven't checked it out yet, start with my mindset questions. Get them free. You can go to jeffheggie.com/mindset and you can get my mindset questions free, and start with those every single day. Go through that and take some time and go through those mindset questions just to prime yourself every single day. And I promise you, it'll help you get on the right foot. Thanks for being with me. Look forward to more great episodes this week, and please share this with anyone that might find it useful. And if you haven't listened to any of Jamie's podcasts, go back and listen to those ones. He's got some great information he shares with us, and like I said, great episodes coming up with Jamie as well. Thanks, and I'll see you tomorrow.